Hi guys, so this is a video just to help you review for Quick Quiz 6. So I want to just go through the review activities just in case you aren't able to join us. I want you to be able to see the stuff. So we've got two things we're sorting here, things that are ionic bonds and things that are covalent bonds. So we're going to pick up each one of these and decide. So molecular compounds. So ionic bonds form ionic compounds, covalent bonds form molecular compounds. So ionic bonds form ionic compounds. Lithium fluoride. Lithium is a metal, fluorine is a non-metal, so it is an ionic bond, it's a salt. Carbon dioxide, carbon and oxygen are both non-metals, so that is a covalent bond. 3D crystal shape is an ionic bond characteristic. Conducts electricity when dissolved in water, also ionic bonds. High melting point, also ionic bonds. Methane is made from two non-metals, so that is a covalent bond. Table salt is one metal and one non-metal, so that's an ionic bond. Magnesium oxide is one metal and one non-metal, so that's an ionic bond. Non-polar is something we haven't gotten a chance to talk about yet. I'm just going to tell you it's molecular, and we'll talk about it more in the next set of notes. Transfer of valence electrons happens in ionic bonds. Again, polar, non-polar is a molecular thing that we didn't get to discuss yet. Valence electrons are shared, share. So ionic transfer, covalent, share. Formed from a metal and a non-metal, ionic. Formed from two or more non-metals, covalent. Sugar and water are both nothing but non-metals. Next game is a fill in the blanks. So you just have to drag from the bottom of the screen the word that goes into fill in the blank. So an atom becomes an ion when it loses or gains electrons. An atom that loses an electron becomes a positive ion because it lost a negative charge. An atom that gained an electron becomes a negative ion because it added a negative charge. Ionic bonds are formed when atoms transfer valence electrons. And finally, we have the monster quiz. And yes, I named myself Review Bot. A blank compound is formed with covalent bonds. Ionic, ionic, covalent, molecular. An atom that gains an electron becomes a negative ion. How many valence electrons are needed for it to be stable? 2 if it's hydrogen or helium, but for everybody else, it's 8. The type of bond formed when one atom transfers electrons to another atom. Ionic transfer, covalent share. Covalent bonds form between 2 or more nonmetals, which are molecular compounds. Well, salt is the main one I've been telling you from the beginning is ionic. So water, methane, sugar, carbon dioxide are the molecular ones. Ionic bonds form between a metal and a nonmetal. The outermost electrons are the valence electrons. The type of bond that is formed when one atom shares electrons with another atom, ionic transfer, covalent share. How many valence electrons does oxygen have? Well, it's in family 16, so it has 6. Which are weaker, ionic bonds or covalent bonds? Covalent bonds are most definitely weaker. They have lower boiling points and melting points. What are the properties of ionic compounds? 3D crystal shape, high melting point, conduct electricity when dissolved in water. How many sodium ions are needed to balance the charge of one chlorine ion? So, in other words, what's the formula for the chemical formula for salt? Are there any subscripts? If there aren't, then we only need one. We need one of each. And there aren't any subscripts, so we only need one. How many valence electrons does neon have? Neon is in family 18, so it has 8. An atom that loses an electron becomes a positive ion because it lost a negative charge. An atom becomes an ion when it gains or loses electrons. Examples of ionic compounds: lithium fluoride, table salt, magnesium oxide. All right. Woo. Watch that again if you need to before you take the quiz. Have a lovely day. Make good decisions. Bye.